evening. My name is Wendy Burnett. I'm going to be talking to you tonight about the 11 killer steps to stop saying forever. I recently read an article called Public Speaking is No Longer a Soft Skill, It's Your Key to Success in Any Field by Carmen Gallo. One of the things that stood out to me the most was Warren Buffett saying that his certificate for completing a public speaking course is the most valuable degree he has. This tells me that being an effective public speaker is very important. Hopefully, after I give you these 11 tips, you will be able to go from being an okay speaker to a great speaker. Tip number 1 is know what you're going to say and organize it into chunks. When you order a large pizza, they have it organized in what order to put the ingredients on, and after it is cooked, they cut it into slices, so it is easier to eat. If you tried picking up the whole thing at once, it would fall apart. Also, if they just put the ingredients on without them being in the correct order, it would be one big mess. But if you put on the ingredients correctly and cut it, it allows you to pick it up, eat it, and enjoy it. It's the same thing with a speech. If you try to shove the whole thing at them at once, it becomes a huge mess. Tip number 2, realize that nobody can tell if you're nervous. Some of you may remember the old Jell-O commercials where they had Jell-O on a plate, and when you jiggled it, it would wiggle around. While on the inside you might be feeling that way, on the outside nobody can tell. Tip number 3, don't put your hands in your pockets. Using your hands to demonstrate certain movements in your speech helps to bring a visual picture to your listeners. I remember I did a speech one time that had me shoving somebody. If I had my hands in my pockets, I couldn't have provided the visual effect that was needed. Tip number 4, keep your sentences short and pause between sentences. A common expression is going all the way around the barn just to get in the door. You do not want to do this in a speech. If you have long sentences and don't pause between them, people will get bored. This will cause their minds to wander and you will lose them. Tip number 5, make sure the content is engaging. If you're giving a speech about something that most people know about, like making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, they will get bored. On the other hand, if you give a speech about something like how to take a trip to Disneyland for $500, people will be intrigued and listen. Pick something that will hold their attention. Tip number 6, tell a story. If possible, make it one that you have told many times and isn't too long. This ensures that your need to say while you're trying to remember what comes next is eliminated. About 11 years ago, I was looking on Craigslist trying to find a dog, and I found a full-blooded Chihuahua that was a decent price. So I contacted the lady and told her I was interested in getting the Chihuahua, but I didn't get paid until that Friday. So I would contact her at that time to see if she still had him. Well, she contacted me a few hours later and told me that she didn't have a good vibe from the people that had contacted her afterwards. And so if I really wanted the dog, she would hold him for me until I got paid. Well, I didn't want to waste her time, so I arranged with her to meet that afternoon to get to see the dog. And I took my mother with me to go look at him. She loves Chihuahuas. And when we went to meet the dog, after hearing his name and his birth date, my mother said that I had to get him. He had the same name as my uncle and the same birth date as my youngest son. He's been with me ever since. Tip number 7, prepare, prepare, prepare. Read your speech over and over, both in your head and out loud. The more familiar you are with it, the less time you will spend looking at your notes. This allows you to make a more personal connection with your audience. It also means you will make less mistakes. Tip 8, avoid distractions. Don't think about what you're going to do after your presentation. Focus all of your attention on your audience. Tip number 9, understand why you say When you don't organize your speech or practice it, you can lose track of where you are. Then you need to fill the awkward silence while trying to find your place in your notes. This leads to many uses of the word that you wouldn't have done otherwise. Tip number 10, know your transitions. Remember at which point you are going to change to a different subject or tip. Words like next and then or furthermore will help your audience to know you are moving on. Tip number 11, listen to yourself. Record yourself and listen to it. This will allow you to see what areas you need to work on and how fast or slow you are talking. You may need to do it a few times until you have your speech just the way you want it. Finally, by using these 11 tips, you can be a very effective speaker. This ability could mean the difference between an advancement at work or staying in the same spot. Being a great public speaker will give you the tools you need to sell your most valuable asset, yourself. Thank you.